Thanks to the amazing folks over at Ameda City through the Predecessor Creators Guild, I've been given an opportunity to take a first look at Predecessor's upcoming patch, patch 1.4. This patch is absolutely massive and has some changes for every single hero in the game. It's also going to bring us our next Predecessor hero, Boris, who's going to be charging his way into Sanctuary. We got a lot to cover in this patch, so let's get to it. Argus is a control mage that came to the game a couple of patches ago, and he's actually Ameda Studios' second original hero, and you can expect some changes coming his way in patch 1.4. For his passive, Disintegrate, you're going to get a little bit more damage all around, but the trade-off is that the duration for each of the stacks is going to be losing 1 second. Previously 3 seconds, down to 2 seconds in this patch. His Q ability, Dread Nova, got a suite of changes coming its way. It is mostly receiving a buff. Most importantly, though, this ability is now blink proxy compatible, meaning that you can blink mid-cast and it won't interrupt the ability. The projectile itself is going to move a little bit faster in this patch, and it'll be able to go a little bit further due to the gravity on the ability being lessened. Importantly, the explosion itself is going to be a little bit bigger, and the projectile is going to be a little bit larger, making it easier to hit this ability and easier to catch some people in the periphery with the explosion. All of this, there is a trade-off. It's going to have a flat 17-second cooldown, so a little bit less use, but we'll take that for a little bit more damage. His E ability, Ether Crystal, has some good changes coming to it as well. Going to be a little bit better performing in the late game, and this ability is going to cost a little bit more in terms of resource with a little bit less damage early, but again, you will do more with it in the late game. Some important quality of life changes with the ability is that it can no longer block blinks or ground targeting. Something great for Argus players, though, is that the slow on this ability has now been increased by 5%, so a little bit more CC with the ability as well. The final change coming to Argus is aimed at his Particle Shredder ability. It's got some wins and some losses with this ability, but the scoop of it is that you're going to be doing a little bit less damage early, with some cooldown changes that are better for you early, a little bit worse for you late. He's got a little bit less range on this ability, a little bit less damage on this ability, however, more scaling. So as you play out into the mid to late game, this ability will do more damage than it was doing previously. One loss to the ability is that the self-slow is going to be increased 10%. So while you are particle shredding, you may notice that Argus is moving around the map a little bit slower than he was, and that was intentional. Taking a look at those abilities, his Dread Nova is a lobbed ability that allows you to aim up and throw, targeting any enemies, again with a bigger explosion and a little bit further distance due to that gravity adjustment. His Ether Crystal is a ground targeted ability that will knock up those that are in the center. It will pull them in at the end of the duration, and again, a little bit more slow coming your way this patch. His Particle Shredder ability is his Gatling gun. Now you will see that Argus is traveling a little bit more slowly than he was last patch, and that was an intentional change.